everyone, and welcome to a new edition of Coffee with Developers. I have a very interesting guest today for you. It's Katja from NVIDIA. She's working as a data scientist in the field of computer vision and data analysis. And I think she has some interesting stories with us to share about what her personal life and her work life looks like as a data scientist, and how is it to work at NVIDIA. So let's jump into the conversation. Okay, hello Katja. Nice to have you as a guest of Coffee with Developers. How are you doing today?
Hi, and thank you for having me. I'm doing great. I hope you're doing too. Hope you're doing great too.
Yes. Is it snowing at your place today?
Not at the moment, but we
okay.
have a lot of snow these days. Yes.
Oh, that's nice to hear. We have the first snow in Vienna today, so happy about that. Vienna around Christmas time, it's very nice location to be. So hope to maybe next year have you in person in our studio, and then you can experience that as well.
That would be great.
So thanks again for joining. Katja, for the ones who don't know, you are a data scientist. You work with NVIDIA, and you work on computer vision and data analysis projects. And basically, I think the audience wants to know a bit more about that. So could you maybe describe a bit what your day-to-day work looks like, and what projects you are working on? That would be very interesting.
So first of all, my role is, data scientist, and the other way to say it is a solutions architect, meaning that I help our partners and customers to set up their projects, to troubleshoot their projects, and my day-to-day work is always different. So sometimes I get up in the morning, and usually always I start with checking my emails, and in our company we have a lot of emails coming every day. Then I kind of try to prioritize what tasks to work on, and usually I have also many meetings scheduled, meetings with partners and customers, also internal meetings. On some days when I have fewer meetings, I do some hands-on implementations, either coding for customers or exploring some new technologies. On other days, I also go to conferences and present, give some lectures about our technologies and technology in general.
Okay, thank you very much. And to get a bit of a feeling for that topic that you are working on, so what are the types of projects you work on? Like when you say you do some coding, or you help customers to make solutions happen and so on. So what are these type of solutions?
Yeah, so I can't tell any specific customers and partners names, but I can surely indicate some areas I'm working on these days. So at the moment, one of my biggest projects is supporting a big partner and helping them to integrate our AI technology stack into their solutions for factory automation and manufacturing. So here, for example, we are solving such tasks as manufacturing defect detection on fast-moving assembly line using video cameras. Just an example. Or I work with some retail customers, helping them to solve problems like self-checkout services, customer analytics, restocking. Another area I'm active in is healthcare. So I support some customers, for example, who are doing robotics, helping them to build solutions for AI-based surgery. Things like that.
That's super interesting, because I think I would say every developer, or most of the people, know NVIDIA as a brand, especially from the gaming industry, but there is obviously a lot more. So we heard a bit about some industries like health tech and so on. What are other industries like NVIDIA is operating in?
So indeed, many people know us as a gaming or a GPU company, but here I always like to cite our CEO, who tends to say that NVIDIA is a platform company. And by saying that, he means that we actually aim at covering the whole process end to end, starting from the hardware and finishing with the software and applications. And we are actually built based on verticals, and we have such verticals as energy, healthcare, smart cities, and smart spaces, and many other different verticals. So it's really interesting. So I personally belong to the vertical of smart cities and smart spaces, but I work very closely to other verticals as well, because the technology, it's transferable, and the solutions which we can provide in one area, they can be actually repurposed for a different area as well.
That sounds very interesting. But before we go deeper into these topics, let's get a bit back to you personally. Like, how did you basically became interested in AI or data science in general? When did you realize that this is a field that you would like to work in, and how did that evolve?
So that's actually a funny story, and it happened absolutely by chance. So 10 years ago, when I was doing my master's, I was actually more into web development and human-computer interactions, things like that. And I was in my third semester of my master's when I decided to go to do an internship in Japan. And third semester, meaning that I was supposed to close all my credits. And I was actually close to doing that. But then, I took a seminar, and for some reason, I missed the introduction date from the seminar. And I didn't get a topic, meaning that, this final credit for the seminar, it was missing. And one day I was in a bar with my friends, and I was sharing this, hey, I didn't get a seminar. And one of my friends told me, hey, I actually got a seminar, but I'm so busy, I don't want to do it. I can give you my topic. And I didn't care which topic would it be. So it happened that it was a seminar on medical image processing. And I said, okay, I'll do that. So I did the seminar, and I actually did very well in the seminar, so that they offered me a master thesis in this group. I did also very well in this master thesis, and they've offered me a PhD position. So, wow. And it was like so natural for me. And I started working and doing my PhD in computer vision. And back then AI was a big thing, so it started developing. So it was which year? 2014, 2015. And in addition to gaining expertise in computer vision, of course, I naturally transitioned to AI and data science. And after I finished my PhD, I kept working in the area, and I'm still working in it.
That's indeed a very funny and interesting story. So, getting the last point, and then in that way, really cool. Katja, when you talk maybe to younger people who maybe just start studying or basically start their careers in general, like are there any advices you would give them, like how to kickstart a career in maybe not general computer science, but more specifically also data science? Is there something that you should really kind of focus on? Because I mean, you quite jumped into this field from the side, but like what advice could you give to the ones who are just starting their career?
I think, the most important is to stay curious and motivated. And AI and data science is such a rapidly evolving field, and there are new things coming every day, I would say. And it's very important to keep track of all what's going on in the field. Try to gain some hands-on experience whenever you can. It helps you to accelerate your learning process. And so here, I would say a great start would be actually to join NVIDIA developer program, where you could gain access to our free software solutions, some free courses. You can also post on the forum and get support of our developer community. So it would be a good start for you.
That's a good advice. Do you think it's a necessity to have a computer science degree or something like that to work in data science?
It's not necessary, I would say. And I saw some really good examples of people coming from different fields like neurobiology. It's well, sometimes domain knowledge is super important. Well, not sometimes, but actually domain knowledge is very important always. And I saw really good examples where like doctors, cardiologists, they would learn about AI and how to use it, because essentially AI is statistics. And if you're able to master statistics and you can understand like how patterns, numerical patterns work, then you'll have a chance to work in it. Of course, it's important that you understand how computers work, how to program, but you don't need the computer science degree for that. You can learn it on your own, I believe. Well, I come from a different path. I come from a computer science degree, but I saw really good examples of people working in AI without a specific profile in computer science.
That's good to know. And then, specifically in your field, what would you say like are currently some key challenges or limitations, or basically what are things that the world is waiting for to be resolved?
So in my field specifically, I would specifically mention the challenge that, well, AI networks, they are growing bigger and bigger, and as they're growing bigger, that means that we need more compute. So limited compute is one of the big challenges. And while, for example, for some tasks, this could be solved by building a big data center, putting many GPUs there, and then you can place this big neural network there. But for some cases, for some applications, it's impossible. Like think about some robots operating there in the field without any network connectivity. You cannot place a big data center on a tiny robot or a drone, for example. So you can still build in a small chip, but their compute is limited. And in order to cope to such challenges, you need to apply some tricks in order to make your networks being small in size, to make them run faster on the small devices. So, and well, we with our software, we are actually trying to solve these challenges. And specifically in my field, I work a lot with these tools. So this lies in my area of expertise. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So I wanted to mention also that the second challenge is data, and also like the networks getting bigger, and that in AI, it's essentially everything is data. And in the last couple of years, the community came up with the topic of synthetic data. So instead of using real data, the idea now is to create this data synthetically to train your networks. And I believe it's a really big enabler and even a door opener for things like general AI.
Okay. When you say like tools and so on, like what are some, for people who are not familiar but interested in the general topic, like what are some, let's say, tools or programming languages or common tools that you use in your work?
So talking to programming languages, I usually work with two programming languages, which are Python and C++. Both are very popular in data science community. Maybe those who work on the training side, they utilize Python more, but those on deployment side usually rely on C++, especially when we're talking about some embedded devices like robots or drones. And for, frameworks, so I mentioned that, for example, we need to optimize networks, and with NVIDIA, we develop some software products and platforms, as I mentioned before. And one of such products which enables faster execution of neural networks is TensorRT. It's our optimizing compiler, which you can use together with neural networks, which makes your neural networks smaller, faster in size. So it applies techniques like quantization, layer and tensor fusion, dynamic memory processing, and many more. So it's a very useful tool. And those who work with deployment of AI neural networks, I believe that they should use it because they will largely benefit from it.
Okay, thank you very much for that answer. Sounds very interesting. Coming back to the general topic of AI, I mean, there is like these days there is this ChatGPT and OpenAI projects and so on, like very trending. But in general, what would you think is there? How can AI help solve some general, more global challenges, like in health or in climate and so on? What are the topics there, and what are the most promising maybe projects that we have on this field?
So yeah, absolutely. In healthcare, we observe large benefits of AI, for example, in assisting radiologists or pathologists with deriving some diagnosis. We usually don't say that AI will replace doctors, but it will largely assist them, helping to discover, diseases faster. For example, radiologists, they spend hours looking at this CT, MRI scans. And of course, there is when human is involved in the loop, there's always a chance of mistakes. And we hope that AI will help them to reduce these mistakes. In drug discovery, AI can be used to find new drugs faster. And for example, many scientists worked on the topic of AI in like COVID treatment. And there are some successful works in this area as well. Precision medicine is something which will also largely benefit from AI, meaning that for each patient, the treatment will be tailored specifically with their history of disease and combining all the information together. So this is all relying on big data and AI. You also mentioned the climate and environmental, and there we can also have big impact, I believe. And for example, also at NVIDIA, we are building, we have a project where we built a digital twin of the planet Earth. And the aim is very ambitious to model all the processes going there. And by relying on AI, we are actually building a supercomputer for AI for this project, and it will be used to predict climate change. So it's a very interesting and ambitious project.
That sounds super interesting. Would be fun to work on that. I mean, when we talk still about AI and all these topics, I mean, there is a lot of people, outside that have also or developed kind of a fear of some topics in AI. And obviously, I mean, everything can be used for, let's say, doing bad things as well. What are some of your ethical considerations about AI, and how can we all together address these topics?
Yeah, it's definitely a very important topic. And of course, there are many dystopian fantasies demonstrating where misuse of AI can lead us. So we definitely need to work hard to prevent this from happening. And these days, research communities, I guess, need to work a lot on explainability of AI, reducing its bias. We need to work on safety and security of AI systems. And you may know that there is also such a concept as fairness in AI. And fairness in machine learning refers to the various attempts at correcting algorithmic bias in such AI systems based on machine learning models.
Okay, thank you. That's interesting. How would these fairness systems work?
So basically, the idea is to detect biases whenever it's possible, and to assure that we have AI tested for all real case scenarios, and to prevent misuse of AI for some undesired tasks.
Okay. And then coming back to your own career, did you have any or do you still have any let's say role models or mentors who have helped you on your path?
I must say I've never had a single figure as a mentor, but at different times I've surely had many great people from whom I've learned a lot, and I'm really grateful for that. Such people could be my fellow students at the university, my PhD advisor, and fellow coworkers in all my previous jobs and in my current job. I got really lucky to be surrounded by really smart people at different times, and I guess they've all helped me to become who I am professionally.
That's good to hear. And why did you choose NVIDIA as to work at? Like, is there some specific reasons, or was it just the right job opening?
Yeah, it was more like by chance. So before NVIDIA, I was working in an R&D group in actually medical image processing. And I got approached on LinkedIn by a recruiter, and I went through the interview process. It worked out well. So I'm here. So for the past 3 years, I worked for NVIDIA, and I'm really happy here. NVIDIA feels like a really big family. They care for us, and I think the company has really great values, and as I already mentioned, solving problems in environment, healthcare. So it's a great company to work for.
That's a very, very good point. Like, I mean, it serves a purpose. So I think the projects you work on really make sense for the world. Also, the gaming stuff makes totally sense on the other part as well for many people, including myself. But yeah, that's really cool to have a purpose always, like to work on, right?
Of course.
Yeah, and then. Do you have any personal, let's say, hobbies, if I may ask, or something that finds you a balance or a balance in your life? Because we as developers and computer scientists, we often have our heads and brains full of all sort of stuff and technical stuff. So what helps you kind of calming down a bit?
So yeah, in my non-technical free time, I enjoy doing sports. I think it's very important to switch your brain and do some physical activity. I like running. I like doing just fitness exercises. I also like traveling, and here I think this kind of goes well along with my career, because sometimes I travel for conferences, and that helps me also to see the world. It's really a very enjoyable part of my career. And my other hobby is photography, and I actually have a travel blog, which I unfortunately don't update very often, but yeah.
Wow, okay. We'll have a look into that. But when you mentioned like conferences, by the way, for everyone who is listening to us, like Katja does a lot of conference talks. She was also a guest at our WeAreDevelopers World Congress. And maybe could you tell us like what you are usually talking about, and maybe what some upcoming events you're joining?
So I usually talk either about the technologies I work directly with, or about some interesting AI topics which I see beneficial to sharing with the community. So, for example, just a couple of days ago, I've returned from South Korea, where I was talking at a conference covering the topic of synthetic data, which the topic I've mentioned now. And I feel it's a very important topic, and it's really important to highlight it. For the upcoming events, I actually have no plans for the next year yet.
Oh, okay, we should change that.
Yes, yeah, I guess that will be changed. And of course, I will be happy to join WeAreDevelopers again. I really enjoyed presenting there in Berlin this summer. Such a great community, got such a great feedback. It was really, really nice being there.
Thank you so much. That means a lot to us. And I'm sure that we will see each other again at the World Congress. Yeah, I mean, last but not least, any other messages you would like to, say to the developer community?
Sure. So as I said, stay curious, stay motivated, and never stop learning, and get hands-on experience whenever you can.
So thank you very much, Katja. It was really amazing talking to you. For everyone who listened to us and who want to know more about Katja, I think you can reach out to her on Twitter and on LinkedIn. Am I right?
Yes.
And also have a look on YouTube when you just search for her name, and there is so many interesting content as well. And obviously on the NVIDIA blog and the events they have there. So it's really a good recommendation to have a look into that. So Katja, thank you so much for being my guest today. And I hope to see you soon again.
Thank you very much for having me. I really enjoyed talking to you and hope to see you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.